We say a lot, but they don't hear us.
Yeah, I know, man. The funny thing is, I don't, all right, me personally, I don't think the verse is that great, but it definitely is not trash. Like it's definitely not mid. Matter of fact, if we keep it a butt, I don't know if Jay has any mid verses.
Nothing I've ever heard.
Right. So I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't know. Let's see.
yeah, I tell people, I said the trick to it is like people listen to verses now and they look for things, you know what I'm saying? Like just basic, oh, the general wordplay, oh, how he said that. It's like, no, you got to look deeper than just the words he strung together, the rhyme. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at the meaning. You have to understand the story behind it. He's like, I tell people, I said, if you're a Jay-Z fan from the beginning, you will always know that there is a second and third meaning, regardless of what you're hearing. You just don't know what you're hearing yet. You know what I'm saying? Your first couple of listens, you're just doing it based on like you listening to a KRS verse or something like that.
Wow.
You trying to
Wow.
comparatively say, how dope does this sound just on the top tier level of me looking at this from the front end? You know what I'm saying? You know, some rappers, when they just say stuff, you just like, it just sounded dope. And you don't even think about the actual meaning behind what they said. You just listen to it and be like, yeah, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you listen to Jay, you're gonna get that, but at the same time, you have to understand this man just probably gave you a history lesson
Yeah,
nine
but
times out of 10.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Here's my only pushback on that. I know you're not comparing Jay to KRS One or Jay fans to KRS
No,
One fans.
no,
All right,
definitely not, definitely not.
we just
No, that's two different record pools. No, it's just the premise of when you hear various artists, when you deal with someone who's a lyricist and fans of lyricism, nine times out of ten, their first go to is the level of what they hear, which is that face value. Did this sound dope coming out the mouth of the MC? The inflection, the wordplay, the stylistic of the principle of the bar itself. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to the meaning behind the lines, as opposed to the story behind the verse. Nine times out of 10, he's like, well, how many entendres did he have? Or did he do this? Like, I remember people in the verse when I'm literally on Facebook when it dropped, people behind about, yeah, bro, yeah, he's doing doubles and triple entendres, but y'all forget Andre and Eminem can do that. It's like, wait, what? How did we get here? Why are we comparing this? Like, this is not the point of this. Is that we know all these other rappers can do this. That's not the premise here. What is the point is what he said, why he said, and did you understand what he said? Somebody else supposed, yeah, bro, some of the lines he said, I heard other rappers say. It's like, no, you didn't. You heard other rappers reference the context. A lot of rappers can reference subject matter. Subject matter is literally subjective, your point of view. But the story he's telling behind it is a complete different circumstance. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people will understand that until they hear those breakdowns. But Jay rarely gives those breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm watching the MSNBC video and they even pull the clip from Guru and I'm listening to Guru, then going back to watching the dude, the announcer on MSNBC explain this. And I'm like, who's this guy right here? Somebody get this man a raise sitting here
yo,
explaining this right
listen.
here.
I tweeted MSNBC. I said, hey, can you tell me what promo package Jay bought? I'm very interested. I'm really not joking. I'm very interested. All right, man. Let's go and get into it. Check, check, one, two, check, 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 checkity, check, 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 checkity, check. Are we good? Are we
Yes,
live?
sir.
Okay, good deal. Mm. What's going on, everybody? It's your man Hanz Nobe, music producer and co-founder of the music production company Room 380. I'm here with my main man, Urban Waves, who is the project manager and A&R of Room 380. And on today's episode 37, we're talking about why artists don't like their fans. Now, I want to I want to give a story about how this whole thing came about. So if you're not following me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok at Hanz Nobe, HANZNOBE. But I want to address this. So I recently posted a TikTok this week where I said artists a lot of times say things like, I can't find support, or my city doesn't support me, or whatever have you. And my pushback on that is I believe you already have music fans, you already have supporters, you just don't like them.
Mm.
Now, let me break down what that means. Okay. So let's say, for instance, I was talking to one artist. We'll use her as an example. And she was saying, yo, no one supports my stuff. This is all, this is cap. So how is it cap? So then she posted my name on her videos. It's a clip of her music video, which was a lyric video. And she said, look, no love. I go into the comments. There's 4 comments of someone saying, love this. This is dope. This is great. And she has 56 likes. Now, started from there. Waves, and help me understand this.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I didn't say, hey, look, listen. I see 56 people that like this post. Have you gone and thanked every one of them? In fact, have you followed every single one of them, went into the DMs and said thank you? Of course, I think you already know the answer. But I'm trying
Congratulations, they didn't.
Right. But I'm trying to understand, why is this a thing? Why is it so hard for music artists to sort of fall in love with the fans that they have, and why are they chasing people who are not even interested?
So I'll be honest with you. You said one big thing just in that whole conversation that changes that dynamics for artists as a whole in our culture. Did you go in their DMs and thank them? Did you reach out to them? Did you contact them, etc.? So that is a marketing behavior. You remember back in email marketing, you have the follow-up email. Artists aren't trained to do these things. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Through all the conversations we've had.
So I want to go into that. And also, artists, if you're watching, whether you're watching now or the playback or whatever, like, one, we definitely appreciate it. I don't want it to sound like I'm not drinking red wine or tequila. It's actually rum, so I'm going to be pretty mellow. But I want artists to, what's the word? I want artists to understand, like, I'm not coming at them. I'm just trying to understand. Because like I said, this year, the rest of this year, we're only focusing on pain points. You're here, but you're not here. So let's find out why, so you can understand the steps that you need to take to get there. That's where I'm at with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going back to this, so I was talking. So in regards to that, a lot of times, so when I first started this company, and I was like, hey, listen, this is what we do, this is what we offer, blah, 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 blah. And we spoke about this. A lot of times I find myself talking to not just artists, but people in general about their heads, which is fine. If I need to lower it, tell me, hey, yo, I'm not understanding. Cool. But the thing that gets me is, the thing I hear all the time is, no one's ever taught me this. And then my answer all the time is, I learned it on YouTube, or I learned it, promoting myself. What helped me understand? I'm not trying to attack. Help me understand, why do artists, to your point, keep saying stuff like, well, artists aren't conditioned, or artists don't know, when the information is out there that artists need to know? What are we missing between this and this?
So it's a two-stage situation. On one side, it's a cop-out, as in, it's not that you don't know, more so it's a matter if you want to know. Because if you want to know how to be successful, the first thing you're going to go do is research successful people within your craft and understand what it took for them to be successful. Not saying that their formula is going to work for you, but you study enough formulas to find your own level of success in the midst of it all. Now, the other side of that situation, in regards to not necessarily chasing the success, is the fact that we said it before. When you're dealing with like rap music, for example, they don't have a defined educational bridge similar to songwriters, producers, and engineers that will take them from step A to step B, rather it be a university platform or a traditional program on, let's say, like LinkedIn saying how to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So they have to get creative.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. And here's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because let's say, for instance, Curtis King, right? Shout out to Curtis King. Shout out to TJ Foster, T Jizzle out in the comments. As always, love to support you. Do you hear clicking, or am I tripping?
It might be on your side. I won't say
okay,
that it's
cool.
not happening.
Got you. So, but shout out to TJ Foster. Love the support you're always giving us. And he says that they don't believe in doing outreach these days. I'm gonna get to that here in a second.
That is also a true factor.
But going back to what I was saying, Curtis King, if you guys not familiar, Google him. He makes content specifically for rappers and producers. And one of the things he talks about is how to have the proper mindset of how to find information. He even breaks down how you can count bars as a rapper. So there's vocal producers who do the same thing, whether it's in pop. I found one who does something for like Latin hip hop. So the information is out there. We know that. But you keep I guess my thing is, as far as the mindset, it's like I get you. They don't believe in outreach. Okay, cool, but why? No one has told me why that is.
So I'll give you two parts of that. So let's take Curtis King, for example, which I've seen his videos. He's super, super dope. So shout out to that. But hypothetically speaking, let's say he decided to go the way of OnlyFans or some form of a subscription model and put his content behind a paywall. When he disappears, we have to say who's going to fill that void. Now, when I said from an educational standpoint, I meant from a traditional track. If YouTube didn't exist, or even before YouTube, there was always still a traditional educational track for artists, whether it be going to a university, some form of a secondary trade, going out to LA, signing with, let's say, a publishing house, and they're giving you what you need from that particular instance to be successful. There's ways that you can find information without necessarily dealing with the internet, in most instances, for every other path pertaining to music. When it comes to rap, you quite literally have to go to the internet, you know what I'm saying? So you can go make sure you find that information early. Because again, when we look at the culture of rap wasn't built in the same sense as a professional market initially, in the same behaviors of all the other defined markets. Think about it: blues, jazz, all these other things had A&Rs, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I'm gonna give you pushback.
Okay.
What year do we hear G-Funk? We're really gonna show our age today, but fuck it.
Shit. You're gonna make me start Googling shit. I'm trying to remember dates.
The first time I heard G-Funk was like 95, 96.
Yeah, I mean, but we also got to consider what eras we're deriving from with regards to things like rap music and G-Funk and what it stemmed from. If we want to talk about age, because again,
we didn't got to talk about the history. I just want to know, when was the first time you heard? Okay, TJ saying 94. When was the first time you heard someone speak business in a rap? I'll tell you mine. The first one was what's that song? Hoes in the shows, hoes in the club, show me love, singing that right. That was Tila, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was still incorporating, or if you want to take it back to like Houston, 3-2, right? People have been incorporating business language into music since, as far as hip hop, right? We're not going into other genres, since forever, since the dawn of time. Yo, let me knock some fresh game in you. So in my mind, let me use myself as an example, right? And I don't think I'm an extreme example. So let me say this. So there was 2 bars that helped me achieve some sort of financial success. So let me just say this. Let me preface that. One was Nipsey Hussle. He said, $1 million life insurance on my flesh. I was like, $1 million life insurance.
What?
So I looked,
right,
found out about whole and term life insurance. I said, oh, this is genius. Let me get insurance on myself that I could then leverage and buy stuff with. There's even insurance where if you wait long enough, you take that interest, either reinvest it back or you can buy the stuff. Right.
Same thing with deferred comps.
Right. The other bar so I got that and I got myself straight. The other bar was like, oh shit, I really need to pay attention, was a Jay-Z bar on Magna Carta 3, which is my favorite Jay-Z album. He said, Palladium in my BM. I was like, what the heck is Palladium? I Googled it, come to find out it is a ore that is mostly used in cell phones and electric cars. So I did some research and found out that there was a mining company in Mexico you can invest in. I took my little dollars, put it in there. 3 years later, right? So the information is out there for free now. I did that based on the information.
Be careful. That's not free.
Okay, yeah, he gave me fine.
There's always a price.
Fine, he gave me $1 million worth of game in $9.99. Fine, whatever.
Bingo. 444.
Right, fine. But even then, what I'm trying to stand is, if if I'm a nerd or whatever, and I'm getting this information and acting on it, what is the difference between me getting the information and acting on it and somebody else, and we can take it outside of hip hop, who's getting this information and then not acting on it? That's what I'm trying to understand. What?
You just said it. If I'm a nerd, and that same behavior, think about what nerds were quote unquote made fun of for. Their high IQ, their ability to understand, and then in that same sense, want to execute because they have a curiosity. That curiosity makes them want to execute because they want to find out more. But at the same time, if you don't have those behaviors or those mannerisms, psychologically speaking, then you may hear something, but you may not necessarily care to enact on it because you're not wanting to know more. You're okay with the face value, the top tier depth. And that's the difference between people who listen to Jay-Z and hear things years later, like, wait, that's what he meant, versus people who take it for what it is and know that what they're hearing is not what they're hearing.
Okay. Yo, what up, Marlon? Shout out to Marlon joining the chat. So
I'll tell you, think about it. Why is a hustler a hustler? Well, what do they always say? You're not a hustler until you lose it all and go get it back. Why does that define you as a hustler? Simply because you lost it and you know you have to go get it back. It's not a matter of if you want to. It's a defined behavior. It's like a dog chasing a bone. It's an instinctual behavior. People have to have that instinct to want to know. If you don't have that naturally, you have to train your mind. If you don't train, like what did they say? Humans are habitual creatures. Like we're just bred point of habitats and just what do they call it? Habits, excuse me. So it's like if I am a creature of habit, then I have to refine my habits to be beneficial to the lifestyle I want to live. Otherwise, it's pointless.
Okay, so fine. So we're not gonna say I'm the exception to the rule. Fine, whatever. My question still stands though. You're right. I had curiosity. But kind of to your point, if you're a hustler, you jumped out the porch way before I did. So what is it? So again, and this kind of tying back to what we said last episode, why is it that the people who I want to get the mindset, I'm trying to create the click, not the clickbait, but the moment, the clip where I can put it out, say, hey, artist, this is the mindset you need. Okay, so let's go with curiosity. What would fuel the artist's curiosity?
That depends on the person. I mean, that depends on them. It could be the concept of what it is that it is to create something incredible. Like they hear a record and be like, how do I create something of this caliber? Or it could just be, like you said, the financial aspect. I want to be this person. I want this lifestyle. So I have to figure out what it takes to get there. At the end of the day, you have to define who it is that you want to be. That's just step one when it comes to building a brand. Who do you want to be? That defining point makes the difference with everything you do, because once you determine who it is you want to be and what your brand is going to represent, you're going to build and execute based on those brand behaviors. If you want to be Coca-Cola, you're going to study Coca-Cola and brands like Coca-Cola to understand how they got that far. Of course, their circumstances are going to be different than yours because of the time that they came up, the circumstances, but the understanding of brand and business behaviors are what's going to resonate with you.
Okay. So that kind of ties me to the next thing I wanted to touch base on here. See if I can pull this up, right? So in regards to artists having the right mindset or whatever, right? There does come some sort of growth with that. And my whole thing is, you're saying it depends on the person. Are we to say that that's the reason why we've only seen a select few really knock it out the park? But if we're going to say that, then are these other artists that are listening now, are they just doomed? Like, they're just like, that's not what I want to do, so they're just doomed?
That's like asking if there's a reason why there's a 1%. There's a whole lot of circumstances surrounding that behavior. Yes, it starts with understanding. Some people call that understanding talent. And then you have to refine talent with hard work. But then you also have to consider circumstance. You also have to consider network. You know what I'm saying? You have to consider opportunities. Do you chase opportunities? Do you know how to identify proper opportunities and what pathways those opportunities are going to lead? There's a whole lot of connecting factors. There's no defined way for us to say 100%, if you follow this formula, you're going to be a millionaire. The reason why I say that is because if that was the case, then every person on this planet could follow the similar formula and we'd be living in the quote unquote El Dorado golden era. But you see puffery around a lot of these people who write books and say, if you follow this, you'll be this, or we'll teach you this. It's like, yes, they'll teach you a formula that they have utilized or something similar to what they've utilized to achieve mass success. And it may work for, let's say, for example, a score of people. You know what I'm saying? But it's not guaranteed to work for everyone because there are varying circumstances stemming from the individualism of that person. There is just no guarantee that me telling you, hey, follow Jay-Z's path, minus the whole being on the streets aspect. But from when he decided, hey, I want to go and be the president of Jeff Jam, focus on that stage and then go up and you'll become the next Jay-Z. There's no guarantee we can say that and that's going to work. There's too many circumstances.
Okay. So let's go and jump off this. I am on a mission now. I'm going to find out what mindset an artist needs to move forward, because there is no reason, because I'm really on that type of time. Like, if you are not where you want to be, there's a reason. There's no such thing as like,
most definitely.
It just is what it is. Like, I hear you in that regard, but I'm definitely going to find out what it is. So that's my job. I'm going to find more artists and this, that, and
don't get me wrong. I mean, you could look at books and find what they say about CEOs, and one of the most common behaviors is that they're narcissists. You know what I'm saying? In that sense. So it's like you'll see things, patterns that they talk about with regards to various type of people, but they also say that about some of the world's top entertainers, that they're narcissists. But at the same time, you in some capacity have to be in love with self, in the sense that you're going to push your dream over anything else.
That's deep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's deep. We're gonna move on. That's deep. Because no, that's deep. Because you're right. If you, damn, I think that's a whole clip right there. Because you're right. If you do love yourself, you would take actions to make sure that you keep yourself happy. Or if you think you deserve a certain spot, damn, Theo, that's kind of okay. I think that was it.
I mean, yeah, there's psychological behaviors out there, but again, it's just not out. It's not applicable to everybody. But there are definitely characteristics that are discussed in the realm of psychology pertaining to these types of things.
All right. We'll get into that. All right. Let's make the most of our time. Okay, so I kind of knew this was gonna happen when I said, "Hey, Waves, what you want to talk about?" And then you sent the clip, but I was just like, I knew I was gonna have to. Okay, let me say this. I preface this, so let me give my point here. My whole purpose on speaking of this whole thing is I want to turn it into a positive. I don't know the full situation, but I do want to say is let me put some sort of positivity out there, just for the sake, just for my city, right? Just for Houston. So if you guys know 50 Cent, through Tycoon in Houston, which, by the way, if you know anything about the history of 50 and Houston, that's another conversation. So I'm just like, okay, this is what we're doing. Had an event called Tycoon in Houston, and unfortunately, at the end of the night, or one of the nights, I believe, there's a video of Mo City Don, aka Zero, getting jumped by what looks like Trae the Truth and a couple of his friends, right? So if you guys don't know, Trae the Truth and Mo City Don, aka Zero, I'm gonna call him Zero because that's the era I remember him from. And Mo City Don, so long to say, is they are cousins. So those two represent something to me just a bit. I'm not from Mo City, I'm from A-Leaf, so they still represent something because they're sort of representing like my region or where I come from. So when Trae signed his deal with Grand Hustle, to me, that was a major win for me because it's just like, oh shit, look at this dude doing this thing. And now I'm even more elated that we have, Normani and Maxo Cream, and we have Lizzo of all people. It's like, oh my God, she went to Elsick and right? So my whole thing in regards to this is I want to address two things. One, we don't know the full situation. So I'm seeing a lot of comments of people saying certain things and everything else. Unless you're there, unless you're actually there, you know the full situation. Don't say anything. And also, if you do know anything, don't say anything online. I think that goes without saying, right? Don't say anything online because again, this is a family matter. It's kind of like what 50 said about Lil Wayne and Birdman, just like y'all don't say anything. This between a father and his son, saying this is a family matter. Hey yo, what's good, Olu? That's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is I cannot wait to see these two amend this because it's funny. One of my favorite songs of all time is "Who's the Man" by these two, and I remember jamming the hell out of that album because it really meant something to me at that time. Because I was sort of making that transition, doing my own thing. With that being said, I do want to put up some content, some positivity. I wish well for both parties. I hope they amend this. I would love to see them back on tour together. I would love to see them back on stage together. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say because I still have to go back home. So the last thing I want to do is ride down Highway 6, stop at a gas station, and somebody roll up on me just like, oh fuck.
Quickly.
That's the last thing I want.
No, I definitely feel you. I tell people I'm not from Houston, but I definitely lived in Houston right around about that exact same era. So, I mean, I definitely feel where you're coming from with regards to the fact that it's a family matter. And the crazy thing for me is like they said, with regards to the internet, how the internet will take something and they just objectively see it for what it is, as opposed to it being profiled and actually having a backstory with understanding. Like before we had jumped online, I had just watched the video of Trae basically talking about the issue. And as he stated, expressing it's a family situation, something that's been bubbling for years. You know what I'm saying? And families fight. I mean, it's sometimes crazy how the fights look. You know what I'm saying? The optics of the situation definitely understood. You know what I'm saying? And as he said, he apologized to those who he felt that he truly let down. In that sense, the fans. You know what I'm saying? If they felt in a specified way with regards to seeing the activity between him and family publicly, as opposed to it being something behind closed doors. And the trick to that situation for any artist, you know what I'm saying, to take away from is when you hit a certain level of celebrity, I mean, even things as family feuds become public. There's no such thing as privacy anymore when it comes to those types of situations. Like you literally have to fight for your privacy.
Yeah, yeah, but there's still got to be a level of respect. Like if it's like,
but the internet don't respect nobody though.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, like, and people saying like, "Oh, I need to see the full video." We don't need to see the full video. We don't. In my mind, I'm seeing two cousins get into it.
Right.
For all we know, other people could be extended family as well. So like, I don't like. I would never. For me, I would never come on here and be like, yeah, that's right. Like I would never do that because it's a family. Because I look like a fool if next week if they do a video together, someone like, yo, it's all good. We back in the studio. We got GMB in the studio. We got to bring some cornbread. About to go. Like then I look like a fool. So like I don't understand why.
Yeah. But that's the trick to the internet. Like you said, if you're not a fan, and this is the dangerous thing behind the internet, not just for artists, but just as a whole, as we progress digitally, and you see the nature of people, you know what I'm saying, who just kind of just get online and say whatever. It's like the internet, you know what I'm saying, without proper context, because you know stories get broke online by first light. What you see is what the story is, but you never see that word, this story is breaking, updating soon, unless you're looking at like a traditional news outlet. You know what I'm saying? So for most people, when they see it, fan or not, that's just what it is. Oh, they got into it. That's crazy. Da, 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 da. And people just roll with that stuff, opening their mouth, or in this case, letting the opinions roll out their backside just for the sake of it, because they want to be relevant in the context, nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say the internet in itself is dangerous in that capacity. So it's like, as an artist going into that situation from a respect of growth, you know what I'm saying? You have to be mindful of what you're opening yourself up to, what you're making yourself subject to, regardless of what's going on, because this is what's going to happen. The internet will take a situation, they'll paint it from one light or another or multiple, none of them necessarily in your favor, you know what I'm saying? And they just go kind of throw it to the wolves being the people who inhibit the internet, who get on with the keyboard and turn into warriors and just say whatever. Yeah. And you got to be careful about that.
Yeah, like I said, it's sad to see. Like I said, if I was going to put out any content whatsoever at all, I just want to make sure put out some positive content. Trae, we love you. Ro, you know we love you.
Most def.
I know you guys have had your ups and downs. But like I said, I'm still jamming. What's the name of that album? Hold on. Let's see. Trae Zero album. So I have it on my iTunes. ABN. It is what ABN. It is what it is. I said that I bought that album. I still have it. Like I said, we want to make sure you guys amend everything. We'll love to see you guys back out there. With that
Most
being
definitely.
said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So yeah. Any closing thoughts, Theo? Waves. Just listen. I can call him
You know,
Theo. Y'all can't
put my
call.
whole government out here.
Any closing thoughts, and then I'm gonna give mine in regards to what artists, why artists should love their current fans instead of chasing. Actually, can I close this one out?
Yeah, do you think?
Okay. Artists, if you're listening, I need you to understand something. The people who love your content and love your music may not look like who you think would jam it. You may want to take a hint because two things are happening. A, the content you're making doesn't resonate with the fans you're chasing, and B, is it possible you may not even want those fans? So in regard to that conversation I had with that young lady, she was just like, oh, but the people I really want to promote it really, they don't really vibe with it. I'm just like, what if you found out that these people are complete assholes? So the example I gave her was, what if you dress up in your best linens and you brought alcohol, you brought whatever else, and you go to a party to go party with these people, and then you start saying your stuff, right? You're like, hey, this, that, and the third, we think like this. And then one of them turns around and say, hey, do me a favor. Can you take that all the way over yonder and never come back? You would feel some type of way. You would even go online probably and talk bad about them. And now you're hurt because in your mind, you say you put yourself out there to be received by these people, and now they don't receive you. But yet you got a whole class of other people way over here who really vibe with you. And what you're not understanding is maybe your music is touching them more than it's touching these other people. So the thing that I want to put out there for you all is respect your fans. They may not look like what you want them to look like, but you need to show love to the current ones you have and let the cool people who actually are late adopters come over and say, all right, yeah, I've been rocking with. No, you haven't. And then you can have that whole conversation. So that's it. But yeah, man, just want to go ahead and just end it out, man. Again, we appreciate. Shout out to everybody vibing. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to TJ Foster. Shout out to Olu in the chat. Shout out to Marlon. Really appreciate the love you guys are showing this podcast. Also, shout out to all 396 of you guys that downloaded the Lizzo episode. That was a crazy stat to see. I was like, whoa, 396 downloads. Shit. But anyway,
Now, you know what's crazy? Somebody probably gonna hear that. They're like, bro, they tripping over $396. I said, now, understand, we appreciate the small numbers just as much as we appreciate the large numbers. So when we get to 396,000, 396 million, understand we come in with that same energy every time.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Let's go and wrap this up. Much love. It's Hanz Nobe in Urban Ways. Deuce.
Peace.